So I think it's fair to say that my way of dealing with traffic lately hasn't been particularly good. Although I will give myself credit and say that Castlebar is moving nicely. Although those buses need upgraded, I've just realized I do need to do that, but we'll get to that shortly. Because I've been reading your comments and I get it. I need to do more to make my traffic move that little bit better. More things like this, more overpasses for either the cars or the trains to get rid of those level crossings. They go a long way for sure, and we do need to put another one in the background there because we still have the same problem. But you might be glad to know that in Mullingar, I have built an overpass over the 4 train tracks, and traffic is moving a little bit better. A little bit, because there's other problems that we need to deal with, and I do have some ideas for how we can deal with those problems today. But I am reading your comments, I am seeing what you're saying. I just need to make it very clear and remind you that, well, 2 things. One, being a bit of an idiot is kind of my thing. I'm working on it. I've been working on it for 13 years, but, you know, give me time. It's like Star Citizen, you know? It's only been 13 years. And thing number 2 is that sometimes I sit down to record a bunch of episodes of this all in one sitting. So just because I didn't sort of immediately get back to your comments doesn't mean I'm not reading them. It just means that it's going to be a couple of episodes before I do, because sometimes I don't just sit down to play this for an hour. Sometimes it's 5, and that's usually not going to be one episode. Not always, but usually. Anyway, I want to come down here and I basically want to sink this train line down a little bit so we don't have a level crossing here. This admittedly isn't a major problem, this particular level crossing. It could be a lot worse, but it could also be a lot better. So that's kind of what my goal is going to be pretty much right away. And then I have got some other ideas. Oh my God, how have I managed to do this? I have got some other plans for what we can do to hopefully improve the general traffic situation, but that's going to be, well, as soon as I'm done with this bit of train track is what that's going to be. So first things first, we're going to bring this guy pretty much right back to about there. Should be fine. I want to hit this with a nice, strong and decently sized flattening brush, because essentially we're going to go straight through here. And we're going to raise this road up a little bit is what we're going to do. So just something like that is pretty much perfect. This road is then going to go all the way back to there. And we're going to go all the way back to about here as well. Should be fine. We'll flatten out the section where the road used to be. And that seems like it'll be pretty good. I would like to get a slightly smaller brush and just bring things up to the height of this bridge, because I think that's kind of important so that everything's nice and level here. And, you know, I want to do the same thing over on the other side. So we'll just bring this straight across so everything is as level as it can possibly be. And then what we'll do is bring the train tracks into this space. We're going to bring them all the way through. A little something like this should be fine, although we do need to start bringing them over. So maybe we just do this and hope that that will be enough. We could lower it down a little if we wanted to. And honestly, I think I do. So we'll just put that connection right there. And at this stage, all I need to do is figure out a way to connect these roads together. So I'm hoping that what I can do here is something relatively straightforward. I want to go to about this spot, and let's see. I want to bring this guy down just a little. And I'm wondering, can I just be so bold as to just connect these guys together? Does that, I mean, that kind of works, right? That kind of works if I go for a bridge that doesn't have, you know, a pillar in the way, which is mostly going to be this one. I don't love that. I don't think the bridge needs to quite be that big. So we will flatten the land around all of this track. We'll flatten the land over here as well. And then we'll get a slightly smaller brush just to give us a bit more space either side of the thing, but we don't really need that much. And then I'm hoping that doing it this way gives us a slightly smaller bridge, which it absolutely does. And it gives me an older looking bridge as well that I happen to really, really love. We could go for this. Well, no, we can't go for this guy. We could go for this one. It is definitely an option. It's a little bit low. Like the catenaries are just slightly in the bridge. If we raise it up, that might be a bit much. But if I was to just raise it really, really slightly to about there, does that look okay? I don't mind that. I think I'm okay with that. This little corner is going to need some love because that's definitely not okay. But other than that, I think that's a good looking little bridge. And all we need to do is smooth out the sides. I think I'm going to bring the terrain up a little bit down this way as well, just so we can get some hills in here, because I think that'll look pretty cool. And then if we hit that with a smoothing brush, hopefully this all comes together and just looks kind of cool and kind of decent. And like it will just, you know, give us less problems for traffic. Although in saying that, and to be completely fair, this intersection, it's not good. It's having some trouble. So making the traffic flow a little faster is probably not going to do us any favors down this way. But honestly, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. And I'm sure we'll figure it out. Now, the other cool thing here is that by not having this level crossing, we can put signals just a little bit closer together now, which means that the trains might not have as much trouble as they were having before. There's no guarantees, but at the very least, they can move without interfering with my traffic. So that's a win. All right, so here is my big idea for how I can potentially solve some traffic problems. Now, very specifically, I'm going to be talking about traffic in Limerick, which is going to need some road work done to sort of rearrange this mess that we have going on. That's something we can do a little bit later on. I'm also specifically talking about Galway, which has a bunch of traffic going through here in both directions. And I'm talking about Castlebar, which is admittedly better than it has been, but we're going to be helping Castlebar as well, which I think is going to be important. Now, the way I'm going to be doing this is essentially by building a light rail system, and I want to build it in such a way that we're going to be using some multi-unit trains, and we're not going to be attaching it to the existing train tracks that we have. Now, specifically, the train that I'm thinking of is going to be this guy. This thing is perfect. It is able to carry 57 people. As a train, it is 73 meters long, so we can have signals really close together and we can use small stations. Even if we double it up, even if we have a capacity of 114 with, you know, 2 of these multi-unit trains together, 146 meters is nothing. And if we go in and look at our train stations, we can get a station that is 160 meters, which is kind of perfect. It's really not that big. It's just kind of perfect. So we're going to get started up here in Castlebar. And unfortunately, the process of doing this is going to mean that I have to go in here and take out a lot of roads here, because I want to build my new train station pretty much right in this corner. I want it to be right about there. And I want it to be there specifically because it's so close to our bus station that it makes it accessible. And that's kind of what it should be. I'm also wondering, can I configure this guy to have a side entrance here that actually does connect to that main road? I can. It looks a bit silly, but I can do that. Do I want to do that is the question. It does look a little bit silly, but you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I need to stop caring as much as I do about the aesthetics in this game. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want things to look good and I want them to look a certain way, but I think there's a bit of beauty to like the overpasses and stuff like that as well. I need to stop worrying about everything being nice and level and blah, 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 blah. So we're not going to worry too much about this looking perfect, but having those side entrances, as much as they look terrible, is going to be good for us in the long run. So I realize instantly this guy needs to be upgraded to high-speed tracks. So that's a great start. And you know, I think I'm going to go in here and take out a bunch of these trees so I can really see what I'm going to be working with in this area, because we want this to go down towards Galway and then down towards Limerick, where I have a really cool idea for how things are going to work down there. But we're also going to be dealing with a lot of really tight turns in here, and I'm going to be trying to minimize the number of level crossings that we have. So this thing is going to be going over and under different sections of road, except for probably this part where I think I do want a level crossing. So I'm going to build a little stretch of track right here, and I'm going to build a little stretch of track right here that goes across that road and then take out this part. The reason we built that first one is because it lets us get this to be nice and parallel without having, you know, it right up against that road. Obviously, that doesn't look amazing, but again, we're trying to get away from needing everything to be absolutely perfect in here. And I want to make this thing just a little more compact. I want it to be efficient, but I also want it to be compact. So we're going to have this just sort of loop around like this. It's not going to be a super fast train in a couple of spots, but I think that looks cool. I think that looks interesting, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm also wondering if I could maybe disconnect this road for a second and bring this road back, and then some way, somehow bring this straight across. I know I said I'm trying to minimize level crossings, but I do think we want, I do think we want to maybe have another connection here, because we're not going to be putting all these old connections back in here. So I think this kind of makes sense. And what I'm wondering is, can I bring you out to say there? Does that look okay? I think it does. We're going to bring this guy back quite a bit, and we'll try and put a nice little bend between those roads just to connect this all together. And that's really not what I'm looking for. That's not quite the idea. That's almost there, but it's not quite. And you know, this might be a bit of a controversial choice, but I'm going to bring this road back a little bit as well. And I'm going to connect this up to Castle Bar. I think it kind of makes a little bit of sense that we get another back road in here. I don't think it's going to hurt us too much to do this, because traffic in this area is generally pretty good already. So we'll just go ahead and do a little something right about here, which technically has a pedestrian connection to that station. Not that we need it, but it's there in case we ever want it. We'll bring this guy out. And how do I want to connect these together? Maybe we'll put a node right there, and some way, somehow we will curve this around. Does that look okay? I think it sort of does. It doesn't look perfect, does it? It's a bit of a weird turn that we have going on, but I think that's okay. We will have some traffic use that road. We have some lines using that road, which is honestly fine by me, because again, there's not that much traffic going through here, so that should be all right. I do think we're going to want to go in and make sure that a lot of these roads, like these ones up here specifically, are owned by me. I don't want anything building on these sections of road. I don't want anything attaching to these sections of road. I think I'm going to do the same thing here. And I think I'm going to do sort of the same thing in these spaces as well, because I don't want to risk anything building across the tracks either. So we'll just we'll say that I own pretty much all of this. And then what I can do is we can go in with a small street, and we can say, let's have a little small street going right through the middle here. And honestly, right down to there is completely fine by me. That'll give us some development in that space, which is completely fine. We can do the same thing up here as well, and that'll give us some buildings in this space, which is completely fine. We can do sort of the same thing up here and get some buildings into that space. We can get some buildings into this space as well. I think I'd be okay with that. I don't know if I need them down in this area, but we'll just go straight across to get that to line up nicely, which it does. And I think we'll maybe just upgrade this to be a little something like that. I think that's okay. And that way we can still have things built in here. We're just not going to be seeing the usual weird road layouts that Transport Fever loves to do, which I think I want to avoid in this space. Now, when it comes to Galway, things are a bit of a mess in here. So we're going to be doing some major redevelopments to make this work, and that's going to be a lot of money. We're going to be spending so much money to make this happen, but I think so many of these roads just need to go away. There's too many intersections, too close to each other everywhere. So I'm basically going to just redevelop so many of the city blocks in here to make it sort of make a bit more sense. This, for example, can go away. Yes, we're getting rid of a stop right there, but I'm hoping I can go in and do something like this, and it just moves across, which is completely fine. So instantly, we've gotten rid of so many intersections and opened up so much space in there. I would like to do similar in this space. I think that can go away. I think this can go away. I think you can go away. And this is all going to make sense shortly. Is what it's going to do, because my goal here is to try and make traffic flow a little better. So I think that makes a bit more sense than what was there before. I think it would make sense to go in and maybe get rid of this road completely and just do something straight across. Oh, that's curving around there is what that's doing. Maybe in that case, we just get rid of this road completely, and we'll just not worry about all that space is what we'll do. This road is going to need to go because my train station's going in this area. And then we have some weirdness up here that is all generated by Transport Fever 2. So that can all be gotten rid of as well. And I think instantly this area is just a little bit tidier. It's not perfect, but it's definitely tidier. And that's kind of what I was looking for. Oh wait, this one needs to go too. That can go away. So my train station for here is going to be a regular passenger train station, 160 meters, high speed, 2 tracks. And it's going to live right in the middle. Let's say there is where it's going to go. Now, getting this guy to do what I want it to do is going to be tricky, because essentially what I'm going to have to do is go in and take out this bit of road. I'm going to have to take out this avenue. I'm going to take out this bit of road. And basically every bit of road leading up this way. So this all goes away as well, because we're going to be going underneath some of these roads, and some of these roads don't really need to exist. But essentially, there's going to be a really tight turn here. And my thinking is we have the tracks sort of follow this road, because I think that looks sort of neat. We're going to have the tracks then come around like this, which I think looks kind of neat. And then we're just going to have them, come straight out like this as well. So it's going to be hugging that road the entire way across, which I think is fine. That road could maybe be straightened out, though. That might not be a bad idea. And then we could bring that road sort of over and connect it to this road over this way on the right. Oh, man. I'm doing a lot here, but it will make sense. I'm going to have to build bridges over the top of my train tracks on both sides. I'm not too worried about level crossings in this part of Galway, but for these main roads, we don't want to have level crossings. But first things first, let's do something a little bit easier, which is going to be coming up this way and building ourselves a bridge. So this entire stretch of road can kind of just go away for now. We can flatten the terrain a little and bring ourselves some tracks straight through, which immediately go parallel, which is perfect. I then need to figure out how exactly I'm going to do... I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm really not too sure how this is going to work. That seems like it could be a good height right there. So if we go straight across like this, that is undoubtedly a good height for a bridge. We'll go a little bit lower just to get, level with the bottom of that road. I'm hoping, could I be lazy with this and just do that and then raise it up? Is that an option? Does that work if I just sort of keep tapping at it? Maybe not. Okay. Maybe maybe not. And there we go. It's not perfect. It's not super pretty, but it's functional. And that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on today, is the functionality of everything. So let's go ahead and upgrade this road to be a little bit bigger. And then what I'd like to do is bring it up this way. So we'll come off of about here. And I'm wondering, could I just get this to sort of bend up that way and around? I totally can. I think that's okay. I sort of like how that looks. I think having that extra little connection right there is going to be good for us. It's sort of an extra connection into Galway, which is great. And I suppose now we need to move this bus stop so that it's, well, so that it's going to be going to, I suppose here, and we can send it up that way as well. So let me just go ahead and get ourselves a new bus and tram stop. I'm going to say right here, and I'm going to put another one up here. And then what we'll do is manage this line. We're going to get rid of Stanley Road, and after Springfield Road, we're going down to Richmond Road and then up to High Street, which is totally fine, because now I can get rid of this old station, and I guess I can get rid of this old road, which we do need to do. And arguably we need to get rid of this one as well. We're going to need a lot of space to play with in here. I also need to figure out whether or not this road is going to be coming back around here. I'm not too sure that it will. I think what I might do instead is bring this little road back up here. So what we'll do actually is bring this over to about there. Actually, well, to about there should be fine. We don't need to go the entire way across. We can bring this guy up to about that spot, and I think that's okay as well. And that gives us some good connections to the new train station. And it also means I have plenty of space to build hills and bridges and all the stuff that I'm about to build in here. So that building needs to go away is what it needs to do. And I need this to be perfectly in line with that road because it needs to go as well. And then very, very simply, what I'm hoping I can do here is get myself a decent looking bridge that's going to go essentially between those 2 points right there, which I realize is going to be a bit of a nightmare to do. But I can raise this up, which is fine. We can raise it a little bit further, and we're just going to keep going until I see what the game wants to do in terms of bridges. It's really not what I'm looking for. But I think, man, that's really not what I'm looking for. I'm going to build it for now, because what I can do is take segments of it out. Just not the segments I was hoping to take out of it. Can I cut into it? I actually can, which I think is going to be really useful. So let me cut into it about there and take out this entire part. And then if we rebuild that entire part, I can make sure that it's on the ground, which is going to look better. And I think that does look better. This part in here, I kind of also need it to be on the ground. This part here is going to be trickier to get on the ground without getting rid of that road. I don't want it to all be a bridge though. That's the thing. This bit in the middle here should be on land as well. So maybe the easiest thing to do would actually now be to bulldoze all of this and then flatten the terrain to the height of the top of this hill. Or maybe I just do this. It's not really what I was thinking of doing, but it works. We have our 2 bridges and it's fine. I think honestly that is what I'm going to do, because otherwise I am going to spend forever trying to make this perfect, and at this stage I don't think there's any real need to make this all perfect. I'd also like to maybe sort of go in here and have this guy sort of snap. Can I want a little path or a little road that goes alongside the train tracks, because we can get some buildings on that I think will look quite cool. So we'll do something like this. We'll bring this guy straight up to about there. We'll take out this extra part. This road can also be gotten rid of, and I think we'll just sort of run it straight through to here. And I think that's okay. I think that's totally fine. And then before I set that to be player owned, I just want to bring this hill out this way a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing sort of in here. I'm going to do the same thing just over here. Hit it with a smoothing brush so we have a little bit more land around these roads, so it looks a little bit more interesting. And I think that's okay. I think we can make that work. I think it'll be all right. Let's just go in and say that pretty much all of this is going to be owned by me. I don't want anything being built on those sections of road. I don't want anything being built in here either, or attached to any of these roads, really. I think most of these could do with having nothing else built on them, especially my big old bridge right there. I think that's important. I think all of these guys being owned by me is going to be relatively important as well. And then on the other side of things, it's slightly trickier. We have a little bit less room to work with, which I don't necessarily love. But if we just take out all of this, again, a ridiculous amount of money to make it happen. But if we take out pretty much all of this, we'll take out you as well. We'll take out this entire stretch of road because it's a little, it's not the ugliest. It's not the prettiest is it's the opposite of not the ugliest, is what I was looking for there. We'll bring this guy straight down to there because I'd like that connection to remain, but we have a bit of a straighter road to work with now. I think this can go away. I think that's totally fine. This connection can go as well for now. And then what we'll do is bring ourselves some train tracks through this space. Again, this is probably the most complicated part of what I'm trying to do here today is get these train tracks in here. Once the Galway part of it's done, the rest of this is going to be super easy. Although I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this road. Haven't quite figured that part out yet. That's going to be tricky. But what we'll do is hit this with a smoothing brush so it all looks a little bit neater. And then very simply, we want to go from here to there. We just need to not have a level crossing. So if I raise this up, is that okay? Or is that a bit much? It feels like a bit much as far as I'm concerned. I don't love it. And that's kind of important to me, that I want to love it. I know that's silly and I know that's pointless, but I think that's just a bit too much bridge. But what we'll try is building it, because yeah, I can take out this part, which I think is important. I don't think I can get rid of this part, and I don't think getting rid of that part is going to be a good idea. But I think doing this kind of instantly helps to make it a little more compact. And then if we go and take out this, can I sort of rebuild it and have it look different? Apparently not. Oh no, I'm okay with that. I don't know if, you know, I don't know if it works in terms of the physics, but I'm okay with that. Oh, do I want to go for like the new bridge down here? I think I do. I kind of like the contrast right there. So we're going to play with that. And I think that's totally fine. Oh, wow. That was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Now, unfortunately, I don't think connecting this little road here to this guy would be a good idea. So what I'm going to do is this, which is arguably a worse idea. It's going to be a lot of very small intersections, very close to each other. And well, I don't love it, but I think it's just going to be, necessary is what it's going to be. Now, can I get this guy to do what I want it to do? I need it to come out and, I need it to not stick to the road on the left, which it's not doing now, which is fine. I think we actually want to flatten this terrain as much as possible to really get this thing to be nice and level. So it's going to come out to about there. And then you are going to come down and connect to about there. We'll get rid of this part. And I think that's okay. It's only a little train station that we're building in there, so there shouldn't be too much traffic for it. And I suppose now we just bring the train tracks through here. So I think my goal is going to be to obviously go underneath this road here, which means the tracks themselves are going to be sort of coming up into this space. So we are going to get rid of some of this, because while I'm okay with level crossings in that area, I want this to be nice and neat. I also think we'll take this out now so that we can sort of prepare to get ourselves a nice little bridge right here. We'll also have this nice and flat so the tracks are level. And if we bring this across, it gives us a bit of an idea of where we're trying to go. So we're kind of heading in here. Or no, we're going to be heading down and then sort of around by the looks of it. Interesting. Okay. Hadn't really thought too much about that, but I think what we'll do is bring some tracks down into this space. We are going to be dealing with some really tight turns here, but honestly, I am okay with that. I'm not super worried about some really tight turns in this space. Cause again, you know, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't going to be super high speed trains, and I'm okay with that. I'm not super worried about the trains not being the highest of speed. And there we go. We have our connection from Castlebar down to Galway. It is obviously, it's done some damage to Galway, but I'm hoping that in the long run, having some kind of, you know, light rails thing for passengers is going to be good for Galway. There's no guarantees, but we're going to find that out together very, very soon. Now, interestingly, it is going to be much easier to set things up for Limerick, because what I want to do is have my train station right about here, and I'm going to run some tracks straight sort of down this way is my thinking. And then I want to take out this road, and take out sort of all of these little road segments here. And I want to go underneath this bridge is my idea. I want to go basically, I might have to bring this track back a little bit, but I want to go to about there. I want to go straight underneath this bridge, sort of heading towards Galway, and that should be totally fine, is my thinking. Now, whether or not this is going to be too sharp of a turn for a train, I really have no idea. It apparently is a little bit too sharp of a turn, so I'm wondering what my options are going to be. I'm wondering, you know, I can't do this. Maybe just redoing those sections of track would be the way to go, or just doing the curve normally, but we'll try this and see if that's any better. That's still too much curvature. I know this can be done. This is one of the few things that I've tested about this theory and this light rail thing that I want to do, because I specifically want this. I specifically want this going under here, and there is what I'm looking for. Yes, it's a sharp turn. Yes, it's a little bit silly, but I like that. I love the idea of having the train, you know, like the multiple levels going on there. I think that's very, very cool. So that's kind of what we're going for. I'm also thinking this road is going to go underneath the trains right here. Maybe. Yeah, I think the road's going to go underneath the trains. So we're going to bring this guy right back to about there. We're going to bring this straight across for now. And then I guess we just extend this section of track the entire way across there, which is great. And now I need to figure out where the roads are going to go. So how is this going to work? I guess we get a level spot from here and just sort of bring it through. It actually looks like it might be kind of easy, all things considered, because that's a pretty good little drop right there. And I suppose the train itself, the tracks could be, yeah, we can make this work. We can definitely make this work. I also realized I totally didn't finish my sentence right there. I just, the tracks could be, yeah, it'll work. I'm so good at this. So good at this. I've only been doing it for 13 years nearly. What I was going to get at is the tracks can be raised up a little bit if needs be. So it should be easy enough to make this work. What I'd like to do, I think, is bring a little section of road sort of straight through here. So we have something to sort of reference. We'll bring this guy up and connect to it. And then this just sort of needs to go straight up to that tunnel right about there, which is totally fine by me. Again, it's not perfect, but it really doesn't have to be. What I'm hoping I can do is bring this track to here. And then I'm hoping I can just go straight across, which, would you look at that? I absolutely can. I love it. Oh, you love to see it. I love it when things just work. That is so, that's not what I want. That's not what I'm looking for at all. That is, yeesh. Let's try that again. Let's see if that's, construction not possible. Good. Okay. I knew it was too easy. I knew it wouldn't be that straightforward. There we go. That's totally fine. We'll take these parts out and just sort of redo that little, in fact, we'll go right back to there because I should be able to just sort of redo that entire incline and have it be a little bit more gradual, which it now is. And then my thinking here is we're going to go into a tunnel. We're going to come out on this side of this hill. And then this is just going to connect straight over to the part coming out of Galway. So let's build you, which isn't going to double up, and that's totally fine. We'll go ahead and build the second part of it right about there, which also didn't double up, which is fine. This is going to be a big old bridge that I'm hoping, at least I hope it's a big old bridge. It is a big old bridge. That's sort of what I'm looking for. I want the big old bridge going over the big old road is the idea. So let's see, how does that look? I'm okay with that. It's not perfect, but again, it probably doesn't have to be. I think we'll just go ahead and confirm that it hasn't doubled up, which is again totally fine. Bring this around, connect it to there. And now all we have to do is a bit of smoothing, a bit of tidying. We have to do some signals. We have to do some crossover points. And then essentially we're good to go on a light rail system between Castlebar, Galway, and Limerick, which, just so we're all aware, I know that's not the main hub of traffic problems that I have, but it's proof of concept. I want to make sure that this will actually work and sort of go back and forth the way I want it to. And then we're going to look into expanding it to some other locations. So I suppose this is as good a location as any for a train depot, which means the last thing to do is go in and put some signals in here. We're going to auto signal this entire thing, and we're going to say that the distance between the signals is going to be 150 meters, although the trains themselves, if we don't stick them together, are 76 or 73 or 7. We could go down as far as 100 meters. To be totally honest, we go down to like 90 meters and get these guys really close together. But I think 100 meters, maybe 150 for future proofing is the best idea here. So what we'll do is get started right about here and just see how that goes. I'm not super worried about these trains being over the top of roads either. I don't think that's really going to be too much of a problem, to be completely honest. I think we can also put a signal right here so they can get really close to the station in case there's another train that happens to be waiting. We can auto signal sort of in this direction as well. And again, I'm not super worried about them being across roads, although this seems a little too obvious of a problem, so we'll try and avoid that. We'll go for here, and again, this one should be fine. That should be fine the entire way around there. This probably isn't necessary. And then in the other direction, again, we should be completely fine just to auto signal pretty much the entire way over to Limerick, which is perfect. We can do the same in the opposite direction, which we've absolutely done. And that essentially gives us, well, one last thing to do. There's always one last thing to do. In this case, it is set up the line that's going to go from Castlebar right down into the heart of Galway and then out to Limerick Exchange. Now, this will be train passengers. It is Castlebar to Limerick, and I guess that's all it's going to need to be. We'll make it a nice sort of dark blue color, since I think that looks pretty good. And then we'll get ourselves some trains. I will say, I'm not expecting this thing to make a ton of money. The goal is for this guy to maybe take away some of the traffic. That's not what I want to do. Some of the traffic from our roads. So we'll get these guys, we'll put them on that line, and that is essentially our little light rail system between all of those locations, which means I get to go in here and place a bunch of trees because I loved this part. I really do. It's so much fun. Let's go for a slightly smaller brush. And essentially, I'm going to go nuts with the tree brush. We'll come back in here and take it off of the train tracks and off of buildings once we get sort of a nice sort of dense forest into this space, because I think that's going to look really good having a nice dense forest in here. Obviously, a lot of these ones will get taken away by buildings once they start rebuilding in Castlebar, and it'll be the same story down in Galway as well. But at the very least, I can have a nice dense forest in there while we wait. And there we go. We have a bunch of trees around this new track. I think it looks really cool. I'm just going to say it. I think it looks really cool. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I love seeing these trains going underneath all these bridges and around, between all these trees and rocks. I think it looks really good. We've already got people waiting here, which is fantastic news as well. We have a few people waiting up in Castlebar, which is fantastic news. And we have a bunch of buildings coming in here already. So this is already rebuilding to make up for the damage that I did by building this station. But I think this is a good addition to this space. And I'm hoping it kind of works out, because we do have some traffic problems in here. It's not great, especially over this way. I mean, this is particularly bad. So I think something really needs to be done about traffic in this particular space. We could look at roundabouts. We could look at some other options. I'm really not too sure. What the best thing to do would be, because it's just a lot of traffic and it's a lot of people going to a bunch of different places. Although I'm kind of thinking that maybe, how much of the traffic is trying to go to the right? A lot of it's my traffic, right? So like you are sort of going that way. I could send these trucks around the other way. That might not actually be the worst idea in the world. So after Limerick sidings, you're going there. After Highfield Road, you're going there. That sort of takes them away from that particular intersection, which might be a good idea. We can't really do it with those vehicles, and we can't really do it with those vehicles either. Tralee Fuel to City is going out that way. Tools to City is kind of going that way. The Tools to City line could admittedly sort of cut through one of these side streets and come back to avoid this intersection. That might not be the worst idea in the world, but I don't know. I'm kind of looking at this and thinking that maybe this road should run straight into that road right there. Although at the same time, the road it's connecting to, the road it's, running into, this one is also a main road. Like it's two main roads running into each other. And all that says to me is roundabout. So maybe that's what we do. Maybe a bit of a rebuild in here to build a roundabout in the middle of Limerick is what's needed. I don't know if it is what's needed. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I think it's what we're going to do, because it seems like it could be a good idea. So we'll just take out all these guys, bring this all the way back, bring this all the way back as well. And then essentially this road and this road need to be connected together. So let me do some flattening right here, so we have a nice little bit to work with. We can bring this guy out something like this. And then we want to just curve this around and down to there, which I think is totally fine. It's actually not connecting perfectly straight though, which is all right, but I'd like it to, because I'm going to be trying to put a roundabout on this. So let's do that instead, which I think is a little bit better. And then we need to figure out where this guy's going to go, where this guy's going to go. We have a connection up there that's kind of important as well. And then we have this station as well, which is going to be tricky to move if we need to move it. I'd really like to avoid moving it if I can. Not 100% sure that's going to be an option, but I'd like to hope that it is. Although, I've got to be honest, I don't know about this. I don't know about this connection, especially once we put a roundabout in there. I think that's going to be a little bit much. So I think this is going to get disconnected for a second. I think what we'll do is tidy up this corner to flatten everything out. And I think we're maybe not going to have that connection down to what is going to be our new roundabout. I think we'll just sort of have this be a corner right there. And I think that's fine. That might even help with traffic a little bit, because ultimately what I want to do now is go in here, go to street construction, get my roundabout, 3 lanes, a radius of 25, maybe. Can I get away with that? It looks like I might be able to. I'm hoping I can. And then I want to build it basically right about there is kind of where I'm thinking for this thing. So we'll place it right there. We can hopefully get a decent connection down to the old road. So we'll kind of bring this guy out. We'll actually flatten this as well, just so again, we have a nice sort of canvas to work with. Bring this out. And then can I connect these guys together? Is that going to be at all possible in a way that's going to be at all satisfying? It doesn't seem like it is. So disconnect you, bulldoze you. Oh, that's a lot of bulldozing, but we're going to do it. We've been doing a lot of bulldozing today, but I think it's hopefully going to be worth it. Bring this out and then hopefully just connect up like this. Construction not possible. Why not? Why is that not an option? Is it because this needs to be upgraded and then we can connect them together? Yeah, apparently it is. Okay. That seems fine. I'm kind of okay with that. I think this road needs to be 6 lanes, and I think this road could probably also be, I mean, it's 6 lanes down there, so we might as well just improve this entire thing to be 6 lanes to at least there, maybe 6 lanes the entire way, since it's already 6 lanes the entire way. That seems fine. I think I'm okay with that. And then what we can do is go in here. We'll come off of, say, this spot a little bit. Oh, do I want to redo this connection? I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do, but we are going to put this connection in here. We're going to bring this guy all the way back and sort of redo that entire segment as well. So we'll bring this over. We can bring this guy sort of up and around to about there. And we'll bring this down and straight through so that we have some dedicated turning lanes. That seems like a pretty good idea. Not too sure that we need this 4-lane road going the entire way back there though. So we'll just shrink it down a little bit and we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that kind of works out nicely for a bit of traffic management. This bit over here, I mean, we do need to rebuild our tram connection. That's going to be kind of important. So it used to go down this way. It goes here. That tram stop might need to move. In fact, I think it is going to move. We're going to get rid of you. And I'd like to go ahead and rebuild it in here. And then what we'll do is put some tram tracks on that road. We'll connect it through to here. We're going to be sending trams. Oh, I don't know about sending trams around a roundabout. That does not seem like a good idea, but it's what we're going to do. It's probably a really bad idea, but it's what we're going to be doing, is what it is. So basically connect this guy to here. Let me upgrade this road. Let me put some tram tracks on this road. That sort of reestablishes our tram connection, which is good. Let's go and say that these roads are all going to be owned by me so that nothing's going to be connecting to them. I think that's kind of important to make sure that, that traffic continues to flow. And then for this entire space, I mean, I don't know that I want to build. Oh, wow. I didn't realize how bad the roads were down here. I don't know that I want to build a road connection that's going to encourage traffic to go through this little neighborhood instead of through the town center, but going through the town center is why we had so much traffic in the first place. So neither of those seem like particularly great ideas. So I think what I'm going to do is similar to what we did in Galway. We're going to take out a bunch of these roads. We're going to take out this road as well, take out this guy and take out this guy. We can then go in and just sort of extend this straight out here. We'll rebuild it so it's nice and sort of level like that. We can connect you to Hugh. Don't know why I said Hugh, but yeah, we'll connect you to you. And we'll bring this straight over and just sort of see what that does. That's not going to be the most efficient connection into Limerick, but it also probably isn't close enough that it's going to take a bunch of traffic from here and send it that way. It means if you're going to somewhere in this area and you happen to be going from Tralee or Cork, you can do it, but otherwise you're probably going to continue through and use the main road through here instead of this little back road thing I've created. I'm also thinking that maybe I set some player ownership on at least this part, maybe this part as well. And that way we don't have anything connecting to it. And we'll just see what happens. We'll just see if traffic can sort of figure out what's going on here. This might have been a terrible idea, but I'm hoping it isn't, you know, I'm hoping for good things with this. And just to be fair, it is going to take a while for the game to figure out whether or not this is a good idea or a bad idea, but let's give it as much of an opportunity to have it be a good idea as possible. I'm going to give these guys a few more lanes through here so that we have the 6 lanes the entire way through. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe it's a good idea. We're just going to have to give it time is what we're going to have to do. I also think it might be a really good idea to upgrade the trams in Limerick to something a little bit newer because we are using some much older trams. So this should hopefully make people a little bit happier. I'm also relatively sure we have 2 tram lines going around here, don't we? Or am I imagining that? How many tram lines does Limerick happen to have? Loop number 1 is that one, and then loop number 2 is that one. Have I already upgraded loop number 1? No, I have not. Okay, manage vehicles. We will go and just swap you guys out for this new one right there. And again, that should, ooh, 737-100. There's no C in that name, which means I think that's for passengers, which is very exciting. I also love this. I love seeing these little guys going around. We get 29 passengers on that one. We get 16 coming in. We're not maxing it out by any means, but we do have passengers using this, and that makes me so happy. Okay, so while it's not perfect, traffic is definitely moving in here, albeit in kind of a weird way, and it's all sticking to one lane, which is very City Skylines 1 of it, but that's probably okay. What I'd like to do, though, is come in here and figure out what's going on with all of these people. We have a lot of people wanting to go to Tralee, and I think we're still using some old buses, so let's swap these out. We have got some options. We still have this guy, which is fine. We could go for the Mercedes, but I mean, the capacity is not that much higher. I want to go for this guy. The Mercedes is faster, but I love this thing. I do. I love that thing so much. It's such a silly looking bubble bus, and I just love it. I really, really do. It's such a weird looking vehicle, but it's so cool. And I think having those go back and forth, there's one right there. I think having those go back and forth is going to be for the best, because hopefully it's going to mean that we can move more people and we'll have less people waiting around. We might even see people wanting to, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people wanting to go to Limerick from Cork, and there's a lot of them in Tralee as well. This might get more people onto the train to Belfast or the train to Castlebar, which would be fantastic. We also don't have any loops going around somewhere like Tralee right now, so let's figure that out just a little bit. Let's get ourselves a passenger loop going around here. We'll have it come in and stop right there. We'll have it loop around and go to there, I suppose, is fine. We'll have it go up to this road. We'll have it come down sort of this way-ish, I suppose, as long as it's relatively within range of the there's so many people driving in here. As long as it's relatively within range of the bus stop, it should be fine. We could even just send it into the bus stop, actually, which I think is what we'll do. So we'll start here. We'll go here. That is looping around. That's fine. Goes to there, goes to there. It comes down this way. I don't love that it's crossing over itself, but I don't think that's the end of the world necessarily, because there's probably not going to be enough buses for that to be a major problem. So we'll not stress too much about it. We'll just very simply say road cargo. We'll say Tralee, not road cargo. I'm an idiot. Road passengers, Tralee loop number 1 is what it's going to be. And Tralee is that beautiful dark green color right about there. So we'll get some people moving around there shortly, because I'd like to do the same thing down in Cork, because we're not currently doing that. And so I suppose what we'll do is bring something out this way, bring something down this way. We'll bring something up into this space, and maybe, do I want to go up here? I don't know if I need to go up there. We probably don't, but for future proofing, it's probably not the worst idea in the world. In fact, up there and there are probably good places to go. And then we'll start a new line right in here. It can loop around a little something like this, going down to the waterfront, going up to Victoria Road, and then up to St. John's Road. It cuts across to Grange Road, and that seems fine. That seems like pretty good coverage. So road passengers, Cork, and it's loop number 1. And then Cork is, of course, that bright yellow color, which is totally fine. So what we'll do is get a bunch of vehicles for that pretty much from Limerick. And I suppose we'll just use these guys as well. I don't think we're going to need too many of them, so we'll just get 4. We'll paint 2 of them yellow, and we'll come down and say that those are being assigned to Cork loop number 1. We'll paint 2 of them that dark green color and say that they're going to Tralee loop number 1. And I want to see what the rate is on that line. 103 is really good. And then in here, 88 is also honestly pretty good. I think that'll work out. Although I've got to be honest, man, watching these guys get overtaken by pretty much everything else on the road is a little rough. It's as much as I love these dumb looking things, they are going to need replaced at some point very soon. But I think for now, I'm going to leave them be, because there's something else I want to replace. And specifically, that's going to be our planes. We're using, what is this? This is the de Havilland Comet 4B. I do like the Comet. I think it's a beautiful plane. But we have some other options now. We do. We have the 737 as an option now, which is, let's see. It has fewer passengers, actually. It's also just faster. Interesting. Do I swap out the de Havilland Comet for the 737? It has 1 less. I mean, we're not filling the London to Belfast line anyway. So sure, I guess we'll swap those out. And I'm almost tempted to say that we sell 2 of the planes. It brings the rate down a bit, but we're not filling them anyway, so we don't really have a need. And then when it comes to the Belfast to Glasgow line, if we manage, I mean, it's a little bit more full, but I think we can afford to swap these guys out as well for the 737, which it does look cool. It does. It's a cool looking plane, but oh, just saw the Belfast traffic again. Oh God. My problem with these planes is we're getting away from like the chrome and the brushed like aluminium or whatever they're made of. We're getting a little bit modern with it, which it's fine. It's fine. London to Glasgow is a lot busier, which is great. So I'll tell you what, let me replace these guys. Let me put another plane on that line just so we're covered. So we now have a capacity of 80 on this line, which I think is totally fine. I forgot how small the original 737 was. I think the 737 still small. I just know that planes in general, like the original like 737, this one, I mean, it's a big thing. It's a plane, but it's compared to some other planes, it's quite small. Okay, so before we move to wrap things up for today, I think the tram lines are causing problems with this roundabout. I'm not 100% sure if it's the case, but I'm gonna experiment is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move this tram stop here to this road, and then we're gonna bring the trams out this way onto this road in here and up and around this way. It's a bit of a backwards way to do things, but it's hopefully going to fix the problem that I think we're having here. Hopefully. It's a very big hopefully, but I'm hoping it's going to do good. I'm also going to just sort of rebuild that entire stretch of road so it's something more like this, which apparently I can't do. Which is, well, that actually makes sense. There's a whole bunch of hill in the way right there. So we'll take this road out. We'll take this road out as well. And then we'll do this, which is no longer going to be a bridge, which I think is fantastic. The tram lines are going to be slightly messed up, but I guess I could do this as well, which I think is all right. Or take that out, take you out. And can I just run this straight through? Does that look better? Not really. Let's undo a bunch of this as well. Let's connect you to there so things are a little bit better. I mean, this is just the depot, so this doesn't really need to be connected anywhere super important, which is all right. This road can kind of just go away for now, and I think I'm just going to hit this with a bit of a smoothing brush just to even things out a little bit. We did have our stop in there. So how do I want to do this? It goes there. It maybe, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how I want to do this actually. I don't remember what way the tram line went around. I guess here, up that way and across. Interesting. Okay. Let's instead go ahead and say that this road is going to have a tram line. This road's going to have a tram line. This one, and this part. All of this guy will have tram lines. All of you. This is going to be such a nightmare for my industrial traffic, but I just want to see if it fixes the roundabout. That's kind of my big test right now, is whether or not it actually fixes the problems with the roundabout. So if I do that, the trams will try to U-turn, which I want to avoid. So we're going to send them this way, which means I need to go to this tram line, and after stop number 1, stop number 2 is up there. So stop 1 into a waypoint now sends it the way I would like it to go, which I'm completely fine with. If I go in, I'm going to have to wait for these trams to move and get off of these roads and sort of adjust to the new line. But I'm wondering what's going to happen if and when I go in and remove the tram lines from that roundabout. And right here, you can see what I'm looking for. You notice how the arrow changes, so that outside lane is specifically just for getting off of the roundabout. That's what I'm looking for. That's potentially going to cause my traffic to behave a little bit differently, which should make this roundabout just a little bit more efficient, which is kind of what I need it to be. So hopefully we're going to see this thing move a little bit. It's not been too bad, honestly. Like, yes, traffic's backed up through the middle of the town, but it's been worse. And so this is definitely a bit of an improvement at the very least. I'm very nervous about having my trams go through the cargo area, but we'll see what happens is what we're going to do. At the very least, like I said, we've got people using multiple lanes on the roundabout now, which is good. So hopefully they filter through and they figure things out. I'm also wondering if I should send trams in the opposite direction, since we could reasonably do that. I don't know that we need to, but we could. Okay, so with this roundabout now fixed, and with our new light rail thing in place, I suppose we can leave it there for today. We've definitely improved things a little bit. There's still a lot of work to do with traffic, but I'm very happy with what we've got going on so far. There's plenty of people using the light rail. There's plenty of people using the buses and trams around Limerick. And generally, we're not blocking traffic with trains anymore, which is definitely an improvement. So that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. Not 100% sure why this train didn't just stop. Did I forget to tell this train? Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Did I forgot to tell it to stop in Galway on the way back. Oh no, this entire time it's been doing that. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that's embarrassing. Okay. Well, I need a train now to read. Where's my train for the out? Hold on a minute. I need not this one because it's going into a station. I need I can't believe that I didn't notice that. You'll do. There we go. All right, yeah, this will be fine. Okay, thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been, there's a bush in the middle of this track. I don't love that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure, as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.